The day my girlfriend won Best Esports Coach, she said through her tears that she wanted to thank the love of her life. I was getting ready to walk on stage when the new player she had recruited got there before me, putting his arm around her and saying with a smirk, "Captain, I respect my elders, but the new generation replaces the old. If certain old-timers knew what was good for them, wouldn't they have retired already?" My girlfriend didn't say anything against it. Instead, she praised his drive and hung the medal around his neck like they were the actual couple. The entire crowd cheered loudly for the esports world's new power couple. But instead of getting mad, I just laughed. I threw the captain's badge straight at the rookie and clapped. "You're right. You're the captain now. Just don't let everyone down at the Worlds." At my words, the whole venue went silent, everyone staring at me in shock. They all knew I had been playing with an injured hand, taking cortisone shots just to get on stage and playing like my life depended on it. They knew I took my duties as captain seriously and valued the responsibility. On stage, the rookie Tyler ran a finger along the edge of the captain's badge, a smug smile on his lips. "What good is this captain's spot to me? Marcus, don't you think you're too old? Your reflexes are too slow. You're dragging the team down." I knew what he was getting at. He wanted me to quit. He was young and full of himself, convinced the team's winning streak was all because of him. But my girlfriend Sarah knew better than anyone who had dragged this average team into the World Championship. Yet now Sarah just hid behind Tyler, her eyes dark, her fists clenched in silence. Seeing her discomfort, I let out a bitter laugh. 3 years ago, I could have been the first person in esports history to lead a team to a world title with a perfect record. Instead, I injured my hand, saving her from being hit by a car, basically ending my professional career. Scheming rivals claimed I had faked the injury to dodge the competition. Back then, Sarah had cried in my arms, saying she was so sorry and would spend her life with me. From that day on, she would be my hands. 6 months ago, she asked me to come out of retirement. I finally got the team to the Worlds, and she successfully earned the title of Best Esports Coach. But now, at a moment like this, she didn't say a single word in my defense, letting Tyler mock and ridicule me. Snapping back to the present, I took a deep breath, rolled up my right sleeve, and showed everyone the ugly scar that looked like a centipede, running from my wrist to the back of my hand. I spoke casually to the crowd. "It's perfect timing, actually. My old injury is acting up, so I won't hold you all back." With that, I turned and left the venue. The weather was terrible today. A sharp pain shot through my wrist, a cold, aching feeling that seemed to come from my very bones. To make my comeback, I had ignored the injury and trained twice as hard, and I was already running on empty. I knew that with my hand in this state, even if I made it to the finals, it would be completely ruined by then. I reached into my pocket looking for another painkiller, but my fingertips brushed against a velvet box. I pulled it out. Inside was a brilliant diamond ring, catching the light and sparkling in 1,000 tiny ways. I had planned to propose to Sarah today, taking advantage of the moment. Looks like that was all for nothing. I probably wouldn't need it anymore. I lowered my gaze and walked over to a trash can, just about to toss the ring. But then Tyler's sarcastic voice came from behind me. "Whoa, no way. You weren't actually planning to propose to Sarah, were you?" I turned to face his clear malice and contempt. "Sarah is the best coach in the league. She's got a long road ahead of her. And you, Marcus? A has-been who should have been washed out of the scene 3 years ago. You think you have the right to propose to her?" When Sarah saw the ring in my hand, her pupils shrank. She was silent for a moment before saying in a low voice, "You shouldn't have quit out of anger. I'll tell everyone you were just joking." Seeing the evasive look on her face, I casually slipped the ring back into my pocket. I had changed my mind. Instead of throwing it away, I might as well sell it and get back some of the cost. After all, I had spent over $1 million having it custom made. Tyler nudged Sarah's shoulder with a smirk. Sarah, you were the one who insisted he had to come back to help me win. Turns out it wasn't necessary at all. I don't see what's so great about him. I froze. So that was it. Sarah's sudden plea for me to return 6 months ago was just because Tyler needed a stepping stone. What obvious favoritism. In the past, that realization would have made me sad, angry. I might have even picked a fight with Sarah. But now it all just seemed so pointless. I ignored Tyler's provocations and started walking home. As I rounded a corner, I was suddenly struck from behind with a heavy object. Before I could even react, a vicious kick buckled my leg and I fell to one knee, my skin scraping painfully against the pavement. The next second, a sharp, terrible pain shot through my right wrist like a needle tracing its way through my veins. My attacker stepped in front of me. It was Tyler. He was holding a baseball bat, which he swung playfully. "Marcus, you've been dead weight for too long," he said with a grin. "How about I help you on your way? Don't thank me too much." I belatedly realized he had just shattered my right wrist with the bat. A cold sweat broke out all over my body. My face was pale, my shirt soaked through, and I couldn't say a single word. Suddenly, Sarah's voice called out, "Tyler, where'd you go? You asked me to get you a drink. What are you doing over here?" Seeing me kneeling on the ground, clutching my broken hand, the bottle of water in Sarah's hand dropped to the pavement. She rushed over in a panic, her eyes widening as she stared at my limp hand. "Your hand?" she gasped. My chest heaved as I glared at the person responsible. Tyler. Sarah's gaze moved between us, full of suspicion. But Tyler spoke first. "Sarah, a group of guys just jumped Marcus. I tried to help him, but I was too late." He lowered his eyes like a guilty child, deliberately hiding one of his hands behind his back. Sarah's attention was immediately drawn to it. She straightened up and said urgently, "Are you hurt too? Let me see." Tyler reluctantly showed her his hand. There were a few scrapes on it, probably from him deliberately bumping into something. The cuts were shallow, but Sarah blew on them tenderly before letting out a long sigh of relief. "Thank God," she said, almost gratefully. "They were targeting Marcus. You only got a few scratches." Seeing the nearly triumphant smile on Sarah's face, I was stunned. She used to care about my hands more than anything, worrying more about my injuries than I did. She never let me carry anything heavy, and on rainy days she would stay by my side, warming my hands and knitting me countless pairs of gloves. Even if I did some housework and got a few red marks on my hands, she would cry with pity, saying she hadn't taken good care of me. Now she was letting Tyler break my hand. Tyler took Sarah's hand in his. "Sarah, it's almost time for practice," he reminded her. "I want to run a few more lineups." Sarah nodded. Turning back to me, she pulled out her wallet and tossed a few $100 bills at me. "Marcus, the tournament is coming up, so training is the priority. I'm taking Tyler back to the base. Go to the hospital and get that checked out yourself. I'll come find you later." I watched as she followed Tyler back to the base without a second glance. After a long moment, I let out a cold laugh and took a taxi to the hospital alone. The doctor told me I had a compound fracture. Combined with my old injuries, my hand was pretty much useless. I felt nothing. I always knew this day would come, didn't I? On the way home, I called Derek, the owner of our esports club. Back when I was famous, I had made a lot of money and invested it in this then unknown little team. On paper, Derek was the owner, But in reality, I was the one who held all the power. On the other end of the line, he sputtered, nearly choking on his water. "What? You're pulling your investment? But the team is about to win the Worlds. We're going to make a fortune. Isn't pulling out now a huge loss? Besides, this team is your baby." Yes, it was my baby. And it held so many beautiful memories of me and Sarah. But now I wanted nothing to do with anything related to her. "My mind is made up," I said firmly. "I'm coming in to sign the papers tomorrow." Derek sighed deeply, disappointed, but ultimately agreed. After the call, I found myself standing in front of my apartment. I was completely exhausted, collapsed onto the bed, and fell into a deep sleep. I was jolted awake by the pain in my hand. When I opened my eyes, I saw Sarah gently holding my casted hand. Her eyes were lowered as she softly kissed my exposed fingers. "I'm sorry, I forgot it was a rainy day. No wonder you were in such a bad mood." This wasn't the first time. For the past 6 months, every rainy day brought a pain so bad I couldn't sit still or sleep through the night. Now, none of that mattered to me. When I didn't respond, she didn't get angry. Instead, she smiled. "Marcus, you must be hungry. I bought a ton of groceries. How about I make you a feast?" Without waiting for an answer, she left the room. I picked up my phone. The screen was filled with news articles praising Tyler's skills and talking about his team's high chances of winning the championship. A few moments later, I heard Sarah calling me to dinner. The table was full of food. Steamed shrimp, steamed crab, a true seafood feast. I didn't touch a single bite. I'm allergic to seafood and I hate the smell. Sarah urged me on. "Why aren't you eating? It won't be as fresh and sweet once it gets cold." When I still didn't move, her expression soured. Just then, there was a knock at the door. Sarah went to open it. The next second, her impatient expression transformed into one of excitement. "Tyler, you're finally here. I've been waiting for you." Tyler walked in without taking off his shoes. His eyes lit up when he saw the spread on the table, and he immediately threw his arms around Sarah. "Sarah, you know me best. This is all my favorite stuff." In that instant, everything became clear. Her intentions were elsewhere. She had cooked for Tyler. I was just an afterthought. I didn't say a word. I silently left the table and went out to the balcony for a smoke. It was hard to do with one hand. The lighter's small blue flame was blown out by the wind several times before I finally managed to light my cigarette. Through the haze of smoke, I remembered how much Sarah used to love me, how she remembered every single one of my dietary preferences. When we went out to eat, she would spend ages talking to the chef about how to prepare my food, down to the exact amount of seasoning. The waiters always called her the perfect girlfriend and told me how lucky I was. But now everything had changed. The man who held her heart had changed. By the time I came to my senses, the cigarette had burned down to the filter. I flinched as it burned my fingers, and the butt fell to the floor. "Didn't I tell you to smoke less? It's bad for you." Sarah's reproachful voice came from behind me. My stomach tightened. Usually that tone was the beginning of a storm of nagging that made my ears ache. But the next moment, Sarah wrapped her arms around me from behind, her embrace intimate and gentle. Her voice was muffled as she rested her head against my back. "Marcus, are you jealous of Tyler?" "Why?" she asked, confused. "Don't you see how much he's like you? I'm doing all of this to make up for what you lost back then. You missed out on the world championship because of me. Now I've trained Tyler myself. If he wins, it's the same as you winning." I rubbed the red mark on my finger where the cigarette had burned me. The whole idea was ridiculous. Was this her way of making it up to me? Forcing me to watch as she transferred all her love, admiration, and concern to another man. I used to tell her that even if I had to do it 100 times over, I would save her in that accident, no matter the cost. She was the one who couldn't let it go. She was the one whose heart had changed. Yet here she was acting all righteous and claiming it was all for my sake. I was about to pull her hands away, but Tyler burst onto the balcony with a sneer. "All right, Sarah, why are you wasting your breath on this guy? I just had another idea. Come back to the base with me and see if it'll work." This time, I didn't have to do anything. Sarah immediately let go of me. She took out a handkerchief and wiped the corner of Tyler's greasy mouth, smiling fondly. "Okay, I'll go with you." As if just remembering I was there, she frowned and said sternly, "Marcus, you think about what I said. Stay home and think things through." I rolled my eyes mentally and gave a vague grunt. The second they were gone, I called a moving company. I had lived in this city for over 20 years. I wasn't about to pack up and leave just because Sarah and I were breaking up. More importantly, a local up-and-coming esports team had heard I had quit and contacted me about a coaching position. I accepted immediately and prepared to move into the dorm they had arranged for me. I've always loved esports. If it hadn't been for helping Sarah, I might have started my own training camp to mentor new talent long ago. Tonight, as usual, Sarah didn't come home. Whenever Tyler came up with a new strategy, Sarah would spend the entire night with him at the base, refining it and sleeping there. In the past, I would have worried and stayed at the base with her. Now I was busy packing. After getting all my things together, I went to the base to sign the divestment contract with Derek. The moment I stepped inside, I was met with a chorus of voices. "That's our Tyler, a real genius. We're lucky to have you on the team." "Yeah, I always thought you should have been captain. That Marcus guy only got into the Worlds because he was riding your coattails, the nerve of him." Sarah's eyes sparkled as she gazed, almost mesmerized, at Tyler's profile. "Tyler, you're brilliant," she praised. "You're the most talented esports player I've ever seen." Noticing me out of the corner of his eye, Tyler deliberately raised his voice. "It's nothing, just figuring out a better jungle route. It's not like I'm our half-a-world champion Marcus." His tone was dripping with sarcasm. Sarah finally saw me and walked over with a smile. "Marcus, perfect timing. Tyler needs a sparring partner, and you're the best fit." I frowned. No. Was she blind? Did she not see the cast on my hand? But Sarah ignored me, grabbing my injured hand and gently squeezing my fingers. "Just this once, please," she wheedled. "Tyler is so talented. His potential is even greater than yours. He can go further than you ever did." A mocking smile touched my lips. She used to say that even without a world title, I was the most perfect esports player in her heart, the uncrowned king. She used to say the only reason she stayed in the esports world, working so hard to become a coach, was to make sure no one forgot me, to clear my name. But ever since I came back, Sarah had treated me like a training dummy. My practice regimen was several times more intense than anyone else's. There were times I was so exhausted I couldn't even lift my hand. But she never showed a shred of sympathy. In her heart, Tyler, this more perfect younger player, was far more valuable than a has-been like me. Snapping out of it, I shook her hand off and refused again. Her hand, suddenly empty, clenched into a fist. Her eyes grew suspicious. "Marcus, what's happened to you? Why are you so lazy now? Have you forgotten how driven you used to be?" she hissed, biting her lip. "Or are you just jealous that Tyler is better than you, deliberately trying to stop him from surpassing your achievements? How does that make you any different from the people who kicked you when you were down all those years ago?" The moment the words left her mouth, she turned pale, realizing she had gone too far. It's true what they say. The deepest cuts come from those closest to you. Back when I was injured and lost the tournament, everyone said I faked it to avoid the competition. Some even accused me of throwing the match for money. My own teammates called me useless and gave me humiliating nicknames. Being misunderstood and ridiculed had left a shadow on my heart that never fully disappeared. Sarah had been even more furious than I was, vowing to make them all eat their words. But now, for Tyler's sake, she was twisting the knife in that same wound. Tyler wrapped an arm around Sarah's shoulders and rolled his eyes defiantly. Forget it. I don't want to practice with someone like him anyway. When I win the world championship, a certain someone better not go around using my name to scam people. Sarah shook her head, looking at me with disappointment. Marcus, you've disappointed me so much. Do you realize what you've missed? You've missed the chance to win a world championship. This might have been your last chance. At your age, with your skill level, do you really think you can still compete on stage? If we weren't a couple, I never would have recruited you for my team. Her chest rose and fell, her eyes hardening as her voice turned to ice. Marcus, I'm giving you one last chance. Go be Tyler's sparring partner. Otherwise, we're breaking up. I had to laugh. When had Sarah started to look down on me so much? Even if my physical abilities had declined, my game sense was still far beyond any other player in the country. This wasn't the first time in the last 6 months she had used breaking up to threaten me for Tyler's sake. In the past, I would have been terrified, agreeing to all her unreasonable demands for fear of losing her. Now, I didn't care at all. Fine, I said. Let's break up. The triumphant look on Sarah's face froze. She bit her lower lip, her beautiful eyes wide, just about to speak. At that tense moment, Derek walked out of his office. Marcus, you're here. Why didn't you say something? Come on in and sign the contract. Everyone looked confused. Derek smiled and explained, You guys didn't know? Marcus is our team's investor. Tyler scoffed. How much could he possibly have invested? I bet he's just too ashamed to stay on the team and is trying to sneak away. The others chimed in, laughing along with him. Tyler's the star of tomorrow. The team doesn't need Marcus's chump change. Yeah, Tyler can make that back with a single sponsorship deal. Derek frowned deeply, about to reprimand them, but seeing their smug faces, a smile curved my lips, because I had just thought of a much better time to pull my investment. Before Derek could speak, I cut him off. Derek, I've thought about it. I'm not pulling my investment for now. Hearing this, Derek's expression shifted from anger to joy. He rubbed his hands together, beaming. Marcus, you finally came to your senses. If our team wins the Worlds, we'll make at least a couple million more. Sarah's expression, however, was uncertain. She didn't know how much money I had invested, but she seemed to realize that my threats to quit and pull funding were different from our previous arguments. This time I was serious. An idea seemed to strike her. She took a deep breath and said softly, Marcus, you know our team has a bright future. Seeing as you've come to your senses, why don't you come back? I'll have Tyler give you the captain's spot back. And if you want, on the day we win the World Championship, I'll marry you. She knew how to get to me. She knew getting married to her was my dream. But now I didn't believe a word she said. I shook my head. No need to go to all that trouble, let's just break up. You can have the apartment we lived in. Consider it a parting gift. With that, I ignored the sudden fury on Sarah's face and turned to leave before she could say another word. Time flew, and soon it was the day of the tournament. I made a point of wearing a custom-tailored suit and getting my hair styled before heading to the venue. On my way to retrieve something, I passed by the locker room. Sarah was carefully massaging Tyler's hands, helping him relax his muscles. Her head was bowed in concentration, as she reminded him over and over. If you get nervous during the match, take a sip of water, but don't drink too much. The scene was exactly like how she used to be with me, before every match. Tyler laughed. Sarah, you're such a good girlfriend. When I win the World Championship, how about I shout your name on stage and confess my love to you? Sarah blushed and lightly punched his chest. Once you win the Worlds, you can't be so reckless with your words. The whole world will be watching. You'll have tons of ad deals and endorsements. People will be scrutinizing everything you say and do. The rest of the team whooped and hollered. Hey, Coach Sarah, how come we don't get the same treatment as Tyler? You're playing favorites. Don't forget about us when you're famous, Tyler. I'll be your best man at the wedding. I looked away, raising an eyebrow. Let them laugh. They wouldn't be laughing for long. A short while later, the match was about to begin. The players were all at their stations, ready for battle. Just as the host was introducing the teams and their members, I leaped onto the stage. The host stared at me, bewildered. Tyler ripped off his headset and shot to his feet, frowning. Marcus, didn't you quit? What are you doing here? This isn't a place for someone like you. Get the hell off the stage. Sarah rushed out from the locker room, grabbing my arm. Marcus, you're the one who wanted to quit. No amount of begging will get you back in the game now. This is your lesson. Now get down from here. The audience, seeing this unexpected turn of events, started jeering. The guy who faked an illness 3 years ago is back to fake another one. Stop embarrassing yourself. I've never seen someone so shameless. Does he love the spotlight that much? Someone get him out of the esports scene. I rolled my eyes. These people had quite the imagination. I shook off Sarah's hand and said with a cold laugh, The match is off. Tyler scoffed. Who the hell do you think you are? You say the match is off and it's off? Do you have any idea what Team Vortex is capable of? Sarah's frown deepened. Marcus, stop disrupting the event. Even the host looked at me uncertainly. Mr. Marcus, if you continue, I'm going to have to call security. I smiled and pulled out my divestment contract, holding it up for the entire audience to see. I am the largest investor in Team Vortex. I am officially pulling my funding. Team Vortex is hereby dissolved. A wave of shock rippled through the venue. In their eyes, I was a once famous player, but hardly wealthy enough to buy an entire team, especially not the washed-up has-been they thought I was. The audience began to whisper. Team Vortex belongs to Marcus? Since when was he that rich? Weren't they the favorites to win it all? Why are they dissolving before the group stage even starts? Has Marcus lost his mind? How can someone with no sportsmanship run a team? This is the end of esports. As the crowd grew more agitated, the host quickly cut the live broadcast and contacted his superiors for instructions. Standing at his station, Tyler snapped out of his shock, his brow furrowed, in disbelief. No, it's not possible. Marcus is lying. He's just trying to sabotage our match. Security, get him out of here! He refused to believe he could have misjudged so badly that he had picked a fight with the wrong person. The consequences of me being the real owner were too much for him to bear, so denial was his only option. Our club owner's name is Derek. Marcus is just a regular player. He quit, and now he's deliberately causing trouble. That contract is fake. With that, he jumped from his seat and lunged for the contract in my hand. I rolled my eyes again. He really wouldn't give up until he was staring into the abyss. I sidestepped his attack, holding the contract high above my head. How do you know it's fake? I asked coolly. Beside me, Sarah let out a slow, heavy breath, her face grim. Marcus, stop joking around. Do you have any idea how serious the consequences of this are? At best, you'll throw Tyler off his game. At worst, you'll cause massive financial losses for the club. Apologize to the owner right now." I looked over at Derek with a wry smile. "Is that so? Hey, Derek, why don't you tell our greatest player and our greatest manager here whether or not I'm faking it?" But Sarah couldn't wait for Derek to speak. As if making a final decision, she grabbed my injured hand. The searing pain made me instinctively clutch the wound. She snatched the document from my other hand, tore it to shreds, and let out a long sigh of relief. As if everything was now solved, she smiled at Tyler. "It's okay, Tyler. Just focus on the match." I watched the scraps of paper flutter to the ground. A cold sweat beaded on my forehead, the color draining from my lips. My voice was ice. "Sarah, do you think this is a kindergarten playground where you can just throw a tantrum? You think ripping up the contract means the team won't be dissolved?" Derek had already rushed onto the stage and was helping me up. He glared at Sarah for a long moment before saying with a look of resignation, "I think it's a shame to pull out now too, but there's nothing I can do. The club belongs to Marcus. I'm just managing it for him. I don't have the authority to dissolve or create the team. Sarah, I don't know what's happened between you two, but you should probably just apologize." Tyler and Sarah froze on the spot. They exchanged a look. This time they knew it was over. The dissolution of the team was a done deal. Tyler's expression shifted several times before he finally softened his tone. "Marcus," he said humbly, "I know my attitude was out of line before, and I made you angry. But this team is everyone's lifeblood, especially Sarah's. Are you really going to throw it all away?" So now he was trying to guilt-trip me using Sarah as leverage. Too late. I just smiled. "So what?" Sarah's brow furrowed, as if she were facing an unsolvable problem. She bit her lip and demanded coldly, "Marcus, why didn't you tell me Team Vortex was yours? I poured my heart and soul into this team to help you achieve your dream of winning the world championship, and this is how you treat me? With deceit and games? I was wrong about you." As she spoke, her eyes reddened, and it looked like she was about to cry. She was acting as if she were the one who had been betrayed, the one who was hurt the most. Reporters in the crowd seized the opportunity, their faces alight with excitement as they snapped photos. Wow, weren't these two a couple? Wasn't Marcus the one who lost the tournament back then because of this Sarah? Now they're at each other's throats. Looks like there's some serious drama here. Another photographer chimed in with a laugh. "You didn't know? They broke up a while ago. See that guy next to her? Tyler is her real boyfriend now. He was the one who went on stage with her when she won Best Coach." The first reporter clicked his tongue. "This woman is ruthless. She just wants whoever's on top, huh? Only cares about the best player." Their voices were low, but the stage was close enough for Sarah to hear every word. Her eyes were red, her usual calm composure as a coach completely gone. "Don't talk nonsense," she yelled. "Tyler and I are just friends. I see him as a little brother. Marcus is my boyfriend." "No, I'm not," I cut in flatly. I turned and looked at her, my expression emotionless. "I am not your boyfriend." Sarah's expression froze. She was a very proud person. Seeing me give her no way out, she began to tremble, her breathing growing ragged. "Stop it, Marcus. Please just stop. We just had a fight for a few days. Aren't you satisfied after running away from home?" I just smiled and said slowly, "A fight? Sarah, are you still trying to fool yourself? I've never seen a girlfriend make her injured boyfriend come out of retirement just to be a sparring partner for her little brother. I've never seen someone play dumb when that little brother breaks her boyfriend's hand. And I've never seen a girlfriend stay out all night with her little brother." "Stop it!" Sarah's voice was shrill, as if my words were causing her immense pain. "Marcus, please stop." The audience looked on, stunned. Hearing it like that, this Marcus guy has had it rough. Missed a world championship for Sarah, and then got cheated on. Right? No wonder he's pulling his funding. I would too. Paying for your own girlfriend to find a new boy toy? That's a raw deal. Sarah was trembling all over, about to say more. But the host hurried back to the stage and cleared his throat. After verification, Team Vortex has been dissolved. Therefore, the winner of this match is Team Inferno. The members of Team Inferno, having won by default after enjoying a front-row seat to all the drama, were all smiles. They even came over to shake my hand one by one. Marcus, man, you've always been my idol. I can't believe I got to meet you today. Can you give me an autograph? Yeah, Marcus. We were all so disappointed when you got injured back then. Since you're not with Vortex anymore, how about you come coach for our team? We know you're loaded and don't care about the money, but Team Inferno shares your passion for the sport. We're kindred spirits. Faced with their repeated invitations, I remained calm. Sorry, I've already committed to another team. The team. Inferno guys didn't press further, just expressing their regret and saying they hoped there would be another chance in the future. Meanwhile, the members of Team Vortex looked sick. Before the match, they had been rubbing their hands together, practically certain the championship was theirs for the taking. Now they didn't even get a chance to play. Tyler, in particular, looked absolutely furious. He took a couple of steps forward and whispered something in Sarah's ear, tugging on her sleeve with a pleading look. Sarah's eyes widened in disbelief. She bit her lip, then stepped forward to confront me. Marcus, I know you've misunderstood things between me and Tyler, and you're dissolving the team in a fit of anger. But have you thought about the consequences? Years of our team's hard work will be for nothing. Without us, who can defeat the international powerhouses and win the championship? Are you going to ruin our country's esports scene for your own selfish reasons? Do you want to be the villain again? This time, her words, meant to reopen old wounds, didn't hurt or anger me. I just smiled faintly. Yeah, I don't want you to win. Before the audience could react, the members of Team Inferno exploded. Who are you looking down on, Coach Sarah? You haven't even played a match, and you already think you're the best team in the country? You have no respect for anyone else? What do you take the other top teams for? Forget them. If it wasn't for Marcus on your team, we would have beaten you several times already. Without him, you wouldn't even make it out of the group stage. Hearing this, Sarah's face went white. A flicker of impatience crossed Tyler's eyes. After staying silent for so long, he finally spoke. His voice was cold. Marcus, I know you have money, but that doesn't give you the right to look down on those of us who make a living from esports. With just one word, you've thrown away years of our hard work. Isn't that going too far? And another thing, I wasn't going to bring this up, but you took money to throw that match back in the day. You probably faked the injury from saving Sarah to cover it up. Now you've used that dirty money to buy a team, and you're trying to pull the same stunt to suck up to Team Inferno. Your intentions are despicable. He had just thrown a massive accusation at me, a truly stunning move. I knew he was desperate, trying to take me down with him. I watched him with amusement, curious to see what else he could come up with. Sarah's eyes widened, her lips parting as if to speak. Tyler just frowned, looking at her imploringly as he squeezed her shoulders. Sarah, I know you've been fooled by Marcus's lies all this time, helping him hide the truth from everyone. Are you really going to keep helping him now? The audience, who had been about to leave thinking the day's entertainment was over, now perked up, ready for more drama. Their mood quickly turned to outrage. I knew it! He faked it back then. He was a god in training, but played like his hand was cramping up during the match. All you people who defended him, and said he was really in a car accident. Where are you now? Marcus, you're such a disappointment. And here I was, always sticking up for you. You're scum. Get out of esports. Everyone calm down. Sarah hasn't said anything yet. What's the rush? On stage, Sarah's gaze darted around nervously, just like a few days ago when she had stood by silently as Tyler mocked me. Finally, she spoke slowly. At the time, he did ask me to provide a false alibi, to say he was injured. He said he was scared of the strong competition, afraid he couldn't win. I didn't know anything about the money. A sarcastic smile played on my lips. Did she really think that by not confirming the match-fixing part, she was doing me a favor? That little crumb, no, it wasn't even a crumb, meant nothing to me. But Tyler's eyes lit up. He immediately started riling up the crowd. There. Did you all hear that? This Marcus has no integrity. He has repeatedly tried to hinder the progress of our national esports scene. His sins are too numerous to count. His words ignited the crowd. Every face was twisted in anger as they glared at me, their gazes hot enough to burn a hole through me. Scum like him should have his hand broken for real. See if he fakes it then. If Marcus walks out of this venue in one piece today, I lose. Derek frowned deeply and shouted to the crowd, Marcus's old injury really has flared up. I can vouch for him. The next second, a can of soda thrown from the audience hit him in the head. I scowled, took out years of my medical records, and threw them at Sarah's feet. Sarah, is this what you call faking an injury? Instantly, everyone craned their necks, trying to see what was going on. Sarah closed her eyes and turned her head away. I don't need to look. I know they're forged. Marcus, it's not too late to turn back. This is just the group stage. If you reassemble Team Vortex, you still have a chance to win the championship. I just laughed coldly. My hand was broken once saving you. Now Tyler has broken it again. Am I supposed to spend my own money and effort to put you two on the winner's podium? Sarah finally opened her eyes, but it was to defend Tyler. You can say what you want about me, but you can't slander Tyler. He might be a bit blunt, but he would never break your hand. There's nothing wrong with your hand. With that, she picked up the CT scan from the floor. She only glanced at it, but then she froze. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Compound fracture, she mumbled. The next second, the scan slipped from her grasp and was carried by a gust of wind into the crowd below. Tyler shook Sarah, trying to bring her back to her senses, then glared at me. Marcus, even if you forge more medical records, you can't change the fact that your crimes are unforgivable. The people in the crowd who had caught the CT scan looked surprised. This scan looks real. My brother works at this hospital. I think he mentioned an esports player coming in for treatment. Who's telling the truth? I smiled and pulled out my phone, displaying a security video. Tyler, what you don't know is that a nearby house has a security camera to watch for thieves. I'll be pressing charges for assault. Forget about competing. You'll be lucky to stay out of jail. I connected my phone to the big screen, and the security footage played for everyone to see. The video clearly showed Tyler ambushing me from behind, his face a mask of malice as he broke my arm. Instantly, the venue erupted with condemnation for Tyler. And I thought this Tyler guy was innocent. Attacking someone in real life? What a disgrace. He's a stain on the esports community. This Sarah and Tyler, not a single word of truth comes out of their mouths. Sarah stared up at the screen, all the fight draining out of her as if her spine had been removed. She belatedly pushed Tyler away, looking at him with alarm, biting her lip so hard it was about to bleed. It was you. It was really you. Don't ever let me see you again. If I do, I'll make you regret it. Then she turned to me, her eyes wet, on the verge of tears. I'm sorry, Marcus, she pleaded. Does your hand hurt? In the past, I might have been swayed by her pitiful act, might have softened, but now I couldn't be bothered with her performance. I ignored her, removed the cast from my hand, and revealed the obviously weak, unnaturally limp limb beneath. Then I bowed to the crowd and said calmly, "From this day on, I will no longer compete as a player. I am officially retiring." The people who had been cursing me just moments ago now looked on with expressions of pity. The farce was finally over. On the way out, Sarah followed me step for step. I finally turned around. "What do you want?" I asked coldly. Sarah's eyes welled with tears as she looked down. After a long moment, she wiped her face and said in a trembling voice, "Marcus, I still can't do anything right. I couldn't protect your hand back then, and now I can't make up for what you lost. No wonder you're leaving me." My brow furrowed even deeper. Did this woman not understand plain English? I had to tell her one last time, clearly. "I don't have any regrets, and I don't need you to make up for anything. From now on, we go our separate ways. Don't contact me again." But for some reason, she threw her arms around my back, holding on tight. As if she knew I would run the moment she let go, she held on with all her might. "Marcus, I know you've been in a bad mood lately because you're jealous, and you misunderstood my relationship with Tyler," she said in a rush. "Please, just listen to my explanation. He's so much like you, talented, ambitious. So I thought if I could help him win the championship, it would be the same as you winning. In the process, I got greedy and obsessed, and I neglected you. I won't do it anymore. I know I was wrong. I don't want anyone else. Please come back, okay?" With only one good hand, I couldn't break free. A wave of frustration washed over me. "Let go," I said, my voice dangerously low. Her grip only tightened. The words tumbled out of her as if she couldn't hold them back. "I'm sorry, Marcus. I lied about you today because I was desperate to get Tyler to the championship. I thought if I could just get that trophy, you would forgive me. And I was angry too. I was angry that you emptied the apartment after you left the base, that you took all your things. I was angry that you didn't understand my good intentions." I was tired of listening to her endless speech. "Are you done?" I interrupted. "If you don't let go, I'm calling the police." She stared at me, stunned. The next moment, she pulled something fluffy out of her pocket and forced a smile. "Marcus, even if you're leaving, how could you forget your little treasure?" The treasure she was talking about was the little raccoon keychain in her hand. I had won it for her on our first date after spending 100 game tokens at an arcade. I had always treated that keychain like a precious jewel, keeping it by my pillow when I slept. Even when Sarah said it was old and bought me replacements, I refused to part with it, even getting into a huge fight with her over it. Now I fell strangely silent. I stopped struggling and slowly reached out my hand to take the keychain. Sarah thought she had a chance. A smile touched the corners of her eyes, and she said softly, "Marcus, I knew it." The next second, I tossed the keychain into a nearby trash can. Why would I keep something like this? Sarah's eyes widened in shock. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a dejected Tyler emerging from a back door. Pretending to be concerned, I said to Sarah, "Your Tyler looks like he's in trouble. One of his fans is about to hit him with a brick." In an instant, Sarah let go of me and sprinted toward Tyler. From a distance, I saw her carefully checking him over, her face a mask of concern. Wasn't she the one on stage just now, viciously telling him she'd make him regret it if she ever saw him again? Wasn't she the one who just swore she'd have nothing more to do with him? It's in moments like these that a person's true feelings are exposed. It takes 21 days to form a habit. Sarah had been doting on Tyler for 6 months. It had already become subconscious. I turned away, no longer interested in watching their melodrama, and left. The next day, I officially started my coaching job at the rookie team. The team was called Team Avalanche. Their performance this season hadn't been great, so they hadn't qualified for the Worlds. Their equipment was outdated, their funding was low, and the players were all on tight budgets, even eating simple meals. But every single person here had passion and light in their eyes. And right now, money was the one thing I didn't lack. Once I had invested in a little-known team without hesitation just to give Sarah a place to be a coach. Now, doing it for myself, the money was no object. Everyone on Team Avalanche treated me like their patron, always acting nervously around me. But after watching a few matches together, they started to open up. In the end, a domestic team, Team Inferno, defeated the international powerhouse to win the championship. Everyone in Team Avalanche jumped to their feet, opened the windows, and screamed their lungs out. In that moment, it was friendship first, competition second. I believed that in the near future, they too would stand on the World Championship stage. I smiled and took a sip of my ice-cold beer. Just then, my phone rang. The caller ID read Sarah. I really didn't want to ruin this great atmosphere in this perfect moment. But my players were excited, egging me on. "Marcus, is that your ex-girlfriend? Answer it." With a sigh, I accepted the call. There was a long silence on the other end before Sarah's voice finally came through. "Did you watch the finals? Team Inferno won." "Yeah," I said. She suddenly let out a self-deprecating laugh. "You were right. Even if I had gotten Vortex to the finals, we might not have beaten Inferno. All this time I was so short-sighted. I even managed to fool myself." What? Had she been hit with a dose of reality? Wasn't she the one who thought her precious Tyler was invincible? I cracked open a sunflower seed, spit out the shell, and said nonchalantly, "Oh." Sarah's breathing grew heavier. She stammered, Can you drop the lawsuit? You know how short an esports player's career is, how precious their time is. He can't afford this." He, of course, meant Tyler. A few days ago, the police had arrested him for assault. I refused to settle, determined to see him lose his freedom and get out of my sight. So that was the reason for her call. She was pleading for him. I refused immediately. "Not possible." Sarah's reply was quick. "Why not? Team Vortex was our baby. Are you really going to just throw it away? I don't believe you." Before I could answer, the team manager snatched the phone from my hand. The manager was a girl in her early 20s, quiet and soft-spoken. But this time, her voice was firm. "Marcus has us now. We won't let him down like you did." I was a little surprised. Hearing this, the other members of Team Avalanche chimed in. "That's right, Coach Marcus is the heart of our team. He won't abandon us, and we won't abandon him." I knew they were trying to help me save face in front of Sarah. This was a warmth I had never experienced at Team Vortex. A warm feeling spread through my chest. Even though I hadn't known them for long, they had moved me more than anyone had in a long time. Sarah's breathing was ragged, each syllable seeming to be forced through her teeth. But her bluster lasted less than a sentence before she suddenly crumbled. "Stop it," she sobbed. "Why did things turn out like this? Everything was fine before. I won Best Coach, and you were about to win the World Championship." I rolled my eyes, said nothing, and hung up the phone. A short time later, I saw the official announcement that Team Vortex had gone bankrupt. I sent a message to Derek to apologize, but he had already messaged me first. "No need to say sorry. I only started the team for fun anyway. If it wasn't for your investment, for you and Sarah working so hard for the team, for you coming out of retirement, we never would have gotten as far as we did. You were the backbone. It's only natural the team would collapse after you left." His tone was incredibly understanding. "By the way, I'm thinking of opening a restaurant. Interested in investing?" I smiled. "Of course. When my team wins the championship, I'll give you a ton of free publicity." While we were chatting, Derek told me something else. That Tyler Kid secretly signed an endorsement deal, and the creditors showed up at our base. It drove me crazy. Sarah ended up paying it off for him. I heard she even sold her apartment. Suddenly I remembered the confrontation on match day, how Tyler had whispered in Sarah's ear, and she had immediately turned on me. She must have decided right then and there to protect Tyler at all costs. I guess that's a kind of true love. I didn't think about it anymore. Sarah never contacted me again. A year later, I led Team Avalanche to defeat Team Inferno and win the World Championship. Amid the shower of confetti, I thought I saw a figure in the crowd. It was Sarah. Her face was etched with exhaustion. She met my gaze for a moment before turning and fleeing in a panic. She was wearing a janitor's uniform. I sighed softly. Perhaps this ending was for the best. The future, I thought, would surely be as bright as this moment.